Unless you are a caveman just born mentally deficient or just straight up ignorant, everyone knows what Pokemon is. Pokemon hit schools in the 90s like how crack hit New York in the 80s. I myself being born well after the big Pokemon boom growing up, it's kind of hard not to engage in Pokemon card trading, watching the anime, or even playing the games. I, WOMBUS, was no different. I was a Pokemon card fanatic. In fact, I still have these binders with all these cards in them. At what point does this count as hoarding? The point I'm trying to make here is that despite being a Pokemon kid, I rarely watch the anime, and thus, the anime movies. Up to this point, I have not watched that many of these Pokemon movies, and the ones I have watched were the ones that my brother put on while I was sitting in the living room. So in the year of our savior, 2026, I got a spontaneous urge to watch all of them. I don't know why. Alright, let me lay down some ground rules for what I'm counting as a movie. Rule number 1, no shorts. I feel like this is pretty obvious, they're not feature-length films, and plus there's an absolute fuck ton of these things. Honestly, there's so many of them, I can just cover them in a separate video. I probably won't though. Basically, I am including things that are just about over an hour, which means I'll be including movies that most people wouldn't, like U2 Returns and Pokemon Chronicles Legend of Thunder, because they are technically over an hour, and also because I want to. Fuck you, it's my video. Rule 2, and really the only other rule in this video, is Detective Pikachu. I will be including it in this. I'm not watching the anime films in specific, I'm just watching every Pokemon movie in general, and Detective Pikachu just so happens to be the only live-action one. Although, that might change in the future. With all that being said, I have about 27 films to review, so I think I should just stop yapping and start covering them. Ich will der Allerbeste sein, keiner vor mir war. That's a very ballsy title for a movie. Nintendo must have known they were going to make multiple of these because they named it the first movie. Yeah, just like Doug's first movie. Still waiting for the sequel. Anyways, this movie was a really big deal to Pokemon fans in the 90s. This movie hit theaters in the 90s like how crack hit New York in the 80s. Oh, wait, shit, I already made that joke. This movie is not like other movies related to TV shows. For one, it's actually treated like a normal episode of the show, even with opening and closing narration.
Today, Ash, Brock, and Misty are taking a short break from their Pokemon adventures.
The animation for this movie is still very impressive, though. The background paintings they use at certain points are really nice looking, and they really bring life to the movie. However, the 2D animation is also very impressive as well. I mean, look at this shot with Brock and Nurse Joy. You have to redraw every frame to do this animation, and it looks really good. Anyways, the story for this movie is that we see the creation of Mewtwo. He gets genetically born in a lab and has an immediate life crisis, and he fucking murders everyone. Mewtwo brings Ash and other trainers to his evil building, where he does evil and fucked up things. The story itself is actually very fast-paced and it doesn't waste your time. After opening with Mewtwo, they introduce Ash and his friends. And after they get the invitation, they head straight to Mewtwo's lair after bypassing a thunderstorm. Staryu, you good? You need a cough drop? There are a lot of things in the story that don't work, however. Every appearance of Team Rocket in the story is just pointless. They go to Mewtwo's evil rape place, they just kind of sit there and watch Mewtwo's clones be born. God. I wish I was that button. You can cut them out of the plot and not miss much of anything. Like, you can show the clones being born without Team Rocket being there. Also, at the beginning of the movie, we see Giovanni try to use Mewtwo as a weapon, and I think it's kind of pointless. Like, this didn't even need to happen. Mewtwo didn't need to realize Giovanni was using him for the plot to happen. Also, how did Giovanni know about Mewtwo? And given the fact Mewtwo wasn't the only failed experiment, how did he know Mewtwo was going to live? I complain, but this movie is really fun and generally good. Going back to the animation, I like how they use 3D in certain shots. Sometimes it matches surprisingly well with the 2D animation, and other times it looks... This is made in Temple OS.
I like elephants, and God likes elephants.
I love the little character moments in this movie. I like where all the trainers name all their Pokemon to show their bond together. That also proves that Ash is a lazy ass who doesn't name his fucking Pokemon. Also, I love this scene when this trainer talks about how he got past the storm with his Pidgeot.
How'd you get here?
I decided to fly over. It was easy. Hurricane winds are a breeze for Pidgeotto here.
I refuse to think you were the only trainer who had a Pidgeot to use. Those things appear in the first fucking route of the game. Why does dugong sound so fucking zesty? I wish I had more to say about the things I like about this movie instead of the stupid plot stuff. But the stupid plot stuff sticks out more to me than the other smaller moments that I actually do like. Like, there's a really weird scene where Brock recognizes Nurse Joy as the lady in the holographic message. Even though there's like 1,000 Nurse Joys that look identical to each other, what makes this one look so familiar? At least they don't waste time on clocking her as Nurse Joy, but the movie isn't that long, so I guess it makes sense not to waste time. There's stuff that I can excuse, like Brock talking about things that are happening on screen.
Can't Charizard move any quicker?
The clone is too fast!
Thanks, Brock, I was just fucking born. It's a kids movie, and they also did that in the anime. But stuff like this, I can't excuse.
Alakazam!
Alakazam? That is a fucking Scyther! They don't even look similar at all, what the fuck? The fight scene at the end of the movie is the best part of the movie, even though it can drag in some points. Most of the battle is just the Pokemon fighting their clones, Mewtwo fighting Mew and Ash trying to climb down a cliff.
You mean we don't have to fight with each other? But how can I trust you? You was born different.
Whoa, Meowth is a fucking racist! I like how the message the trainers realize at the end is that Pokemon aren't meant to fight each other. 25 more movies after this, by the way. I can spend time talking about other scenes I like. The Pikachu ramp chase, or the very well done scene of Pikachu struggling to electrocute Ash back to life after he fucking dies. It's a very well done scene that actually almost made me tear up. I'm nearly a grown-ass man. I think I've talked enough about this film. I know I didn't really talk about it that much, but I've said all I needed to say. It's a good start to the video, definitely. Can't wait to see what's next. 8 out of 10. Good movie. Well, that was a quick fall off. Yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this one. This movie is not very good. This movie's plot focuses on the 3 legendary birds. And also Lugia, I guess. Yeah, the plot this time around is not very strong. In fact, it's really weak. This evil bad guy, who I don't think we even get the name of, decides to collect the 3 legendary birds, which apparently will eventually lead to Lugia appearing, so he can collect him as well. It's unexplained why Lugia appears after the 3 birds are taken. Maybe they should have explained that better. The villain in this movie is awful. All he does is sit on his ass and talk about how he will collect all of the legendary birds and summon Lugia. That's like all of his dialogue in this fucking movie. There's also a scene where Ash and the gang get caught in his flying ship, and after he reveals his evil plan, he just lets them out of the cage. Can you guess what happens after that? Yeah, they free the birds and the aircraft gets plunged into a cliff. I wonder how he could have prevented that. There's also a bunch of pointless side characters like an islander girl who calls Ash the chosen one. She exists, but there's not really a point of her being there.
She's a big show-off.
There's also this weird character arc where the islander girl and Misty argue over Ash being Misty's boyfriend. It doesn't go anywhere in the plot. I guess it's supposed to show these two go from rivals to friends, but it's such a weird way to show it. What's the point of adding a romance subplot if Misty's never going to be confronted with her feelings? Another pointless character is not Brock. I know he has a name, but he's basically just a boring version of Brock. It's funny because they show him later in the movie working for this Poke professor, so I don't know why they didn't just use him in the plot. Also, Team Rocket dies. Another thing that really bothers me about this movie is the 3D animation. In the first film, it's used more sparingly and mixed with the 2D animation, but with this film, they just said fuck it and decided to make multiple things fully 3D, like the aircraft. It looks like shit and it really takes me out of the film, and it happens a lot. Another thing is that the opening to this film is really catchy. We all live in a Pokemon, well I wanna be the greatest trainer of them all. I didn't know where to include that, I'm sorry. The one thing this plot does have over the first film is that Team Rocket actually has something to do. Specifically, they actually get character development by redeeming themselves into good guys and help Ash to get the last treasure. Team Rocket are just good characters in general and are actually kind of funny.
So then we're not bad.
That's good.
What if the boss finds out?
That's bad.
We'll start our own team.
That's good.
But we got no money.
That's bad.
Then we'll just steal some.
That's good. Or is that bad?
I know this whole arc will probably be forgotten about after this film to restore the status quo. I don't mind that though, if it means I get to see Team Rocket in future films. Also, some Pokemon talk in this movie and it upsets me. Slowbro and Lugia have voices in this and I hate it. Mewtwo is an exception because he was specifically bred in a lab, but normal Pokemon should not have voices.
But mess up? What if I... You can do it. We know you can. Yeah, you're right. I can do it.
That's the saddest story I ever heard.
I'm the one with the problem, not you. Get over it.
Okay.
Overall, this film is really boring and uninvesting. The ending to this film goes on forever and you're just waiting for it to end. Also, Weird Al sings the fucking credits song for this movie. I know I played a clip of it at the beginning, but I can't believe this song existed and I never knew about it. Anyways, 4 out of 10 film. Next. Okay, this film was about Entei and the Unknowns. I can question why they didn't focus on the other legendary dogs, but that would probably make it too similar to the last film. In the plot, a Pokemon professor gets trapped in an unknown dimension. The Unknowns find their way to the professor's daughter where she summons Entei thinking it's her father, and he kidnaps Ash's mom thinking it's her mom. I swear it's done more naturally in the film. The plot is actually very interesting. The Unknowns using her imagination to create anything is a very interesting idea, and they don't waste it. Aside from the weird metal looking stuff they cover the area in, there's some very interesting scenes done with the concept. The little girl character creating a different version of herself that immediately grows up to Pokemon battle the other trainers. That also made me have a very interesting conversation about the age of consent. I think there might be something very wrong with me. Speaking of the Pokemon battles in this movie, they're very entertaining. Aside from just the normal battle against Brock, which is fun, there's also a really cool Pokemon battle scene with Misty that takes place underwater. Remember, imagination powers. Now that I think of it, I don't remember there being any Pokemon battles in the last movie, which is, you know, another reason why that movie sucks. I honestly like how the concept of the film is just, what if you gave the 4-year-old the power of God? It's pretty funny when you think about it that way. The animation this time around is a lot better, mainly because they rarely use 3D this time. And when they do use it, it doesn't look that bad. Especially the Unknown, who are shown only in 3D. It's a very interesting artistic decision that I kinda like. Even the 2D animation I think got improved because it looks really good in this movie. I like the little mythical drawings they use to present Pokemon like Entei. It adds to the mythical aspect of the mythical Pokemon. Although I don't like this one drawing that looks like the scary-ass Adult Swim "The Dawn is Your Enemy" bumper. Anything that reminds me of that gets points removed. Other technical aspects of this film are good too, like the music. The music is done very well in general, but the theme that plays during the final battle scene is really good. I like how there's a strike in the music every time Entei summons a platform. Speaking of music, the opening theme for this movie is still a fucking banger.
It's a whole new world to live in. It's a whole new world to see!
Going back to the plot, something I do enjoy is that they don't waste time with pointless characters. They bring back Brock into the trio so the dynamic between Misty and Ash doesn't have to carry the character development. Something that is pointless that is in this film is Team Rocket. Unlike the previous film, Team Rocket is relegated back to the background comedy relief characters. I know this isn't the first and definitely won't be the last time I complain about Team Rocket's appearances. Look, I don't really have a problem with adding Team Rocket as comic relief, but they are just not funny in this movie. And I'm not exaggerating when I say you can literally remove them from the film and miss nothing. They just exist in this film. It's not even made clear why they're here. They just are. I think it's explained at the end of the film they were just trying to catch Entei, but there was no mention of that was the plan. Actually, there's no point where they even attempt to catch Entei. The ending to this film is a little odd to me too. The final battle and everything is fine, but eventually it feels like it drags on, which is just a pattern for these movies now. But after the Unknowns go back to their dimension, the portal spits out the little girl's father. That is the last time we see him in the film. I feel like it would be incredibly important to show the two reuniting since it's literally what drove the entire conflict of the film. And it doesn't get resolved.
Oh.
The first time I heard that, I legitimately heard the N-word. With everything said, I surprisingly enjoyed this film. 7 out of 10. So, Antonella, what did you think of Pokemon the third movie?
Pokemon the third movie?
Yeah.
That shit was ass, bro. It was ass.
Well, fuck you, I thought it was charming.
Hey, I know. I'll use my trusty frying pan as a drying pan.
Wow, Brock. You are just so fucking funny! I just want to state that I am aware of the VHS footage. I would use something better, but it was the highest quality footage I can find. It also has an advertisement for fucking MVP, the chimp hockey movie.
He's playing like a pro who is simply unstoppable. Now, Jack is discovering
So do you want to try it?
a whole new kind of skating.
that automatically makes this the best way to watch this film. I don't know about you. I'm also aware that this isn't technically a movie. It's an hour-long TV special, but I mean, the poster says Johto Film, so I'm including it as a film. Mewtwo Returns is about exactly what you think it is. Team Rocket finds Mewtwo and his clone Pokemon living on an island in the middle of Purity Canyon. I think the first thing that's worth talking about is Team Rocket. Obviously, Jessie, James, and Meowth have a reason to be in the plot, but the rest of Team Rocket, like Giovanni and the other agent, who I forgot the name of, also get to have character development. I like how we see that even among other Team Rocket members, Jessie, James, and Meowth are disrespected. Mewtwo sits on Purity Island watching other people in his cut cave. He lives there with his clone Pokemon, teaching them the way of life. I love the scenes where Mewtwo is talking to his clones. Meowth is just and Mewtwo is just sitting there like,
Humans do not simply eat spaghetti without eating the meatballs first.
I do really like the scenes where Pokemon clones try to fight back against Mewtwo's beliefs and try to escape the island. I guess Ash and the other trainers are also here. Yeah, this is a very rare plot where I think the trainers don't really have to be here. I'm not complaining about them being here, I just think the plot would be more interesting if it was just Mewtwo, the clones, and Team Rocket.
Is there any other way across the valley?
I know there's one.
Huh?
There.
Alright, Brock, you didn't need to do all that. There's also a plot point about the water in Purity Springs and how it can heal people and Pokemon and how this guy wants to use it for science. I think this plot point was pointless since it never actually amounts to anything.
It makes me feel refreshingly alive and tingly.
Misty fucking ejaculating about this water. Misty would have a fucking aneurysm if she saw Water Girl. Unfortunately, I have very little to say about the actual special. It's fine, it could explore themes better, especially with Mewtwo's clones. The special is fun and entertaining with some cool scenes in it, like the scene where Mewtwo defeats Giovanni with his pure aura powers.
You've done well so far, but up until now I've only been using a mere 5% of my power. Now let's see how well you fare against my Biden Blast!
Although it does fall apart at the end when Mewtwo uses his mind-wiping powers on Team Rocket for them to forget about him. This whole movie could have been avoided if he just did that in the beginning. Overall, Mewtwo Returns is a very interesting concept that is decently executed but will probably blend in and become forgettable. 6 out of 10. Unfortunate I don't have more to say. I was gonna write a part in the script where I talk about how short these reviews are, but I watched this movie and realized I have very little interesting to say about it. This movie is boring, point blank. I'm not even gonna try to make the script for this movie feel natural. I'm just gonna give you the notes I took while watching this movie. This movie is about Celebi, and Suicune sometimes. Suicune is just here. He has plot importance, I guess. If you can rewrite the film slightly to not include him, and it doesn't make much of a difference to the plot, that's a bad sign. Anyways, I guess I'll talk about what I like. The villain is actually pretty cool. He's a Team Rocket member who hunts Pokemon. He has a really cool design. He looks like an F-Zero racer.
This is a victory for evil.
He also uses these dark Pokeballs to turn Pokemon evil. It's a really cool idea that's used very well. Another thing I like in this movie is the cinematography. There are some very good shots in this movie. They also use this gloss effect on the animation a lot more commonly here. It doesn't overstay its welcome and it fits the animation well. And that's about everything good I have to say about this movie. The biggest issue with this movie is just it's boring. Between the beginning and the part where the villain captures Celebi, it is a slog to get through this movie. I got so bored to the point where I just decided to pull out my phone. It's bad when I pull out my phone once during a film, but I did it multiple times during this movie. It's just scenes between Ash and the Sammy character hanging out with Celebi in the forest. They try to develop the friendship between these two, but I don't care about this character, no matter how much dual writing they try to fix it with. Also, the terrible CGI is back and it is at full effect in this movie. Obviously, there's the giant forest monster Celebi creates. It's the only thing people remember from this movie, but there's also this shot of Suicune that looks terrible. They try to do the sad death scene with Celebi, and it's just an inferior version of the sad Ash death scene from the first film. It doesn't use the same techniques the first film used for its gut punch emotion. Anyways, that's all I have to say. I do apologize for not spending more time on these. I can't format a script for shit, and this is a boring movie. Although I guess it's better to write these scripts comically short than spend 3 hours on each movie to pad runtime. 5 out of 10, hopefully these reviews get longer. This movie is about Latios and it's Google auto-corrected to Latios and Latinas. Ash and his friends vacation to this town I don't remember the name of because it's basically just an in-world fill-in for Italy. This movie is very similar to Pokemon Forever. Not that much actually happens until the last 20 minutes. It's just Ash fucking around with Pokemon for a large amount of the film. But yet, I actually enjoy this film. I think the main reason for it is that in that movie... Fuck, I hate writing scripts. I think the main reason for this is that I wrote that 3 fucking times into the script. I can't write shit. In that movie, it tries to develop the Sammy trainer and Ash's friendship. And I just couldn't care since I already know he's already gonna leave by the end of the film. But the development in this film is spent with Latios and Latias. It feels more natural because we already like Ash and we like the Pokemon as well. The other characters who are introduced aren't in the forefront of the plot. They're side characters, which is what Sammy in the last movie should have been. Not, basically, main character number 2. I don't know if that makes any sense. I wrote this script at 3 AM. Team Rocket are obviously in this film. There's also the main villains who are also a part of Team Rocket. Since there are already Team Rocket villains, Jesse and James are relegated to the comedic relief that they cut to every once in a while. It's something they should have done from the beginning. Aside from 2000, I've complained about Team Rocket's inclusion about every film. They play the same role they do in the other films. It's just done better here. There's no point shoehorning them into the plot if they can just exist within the area and be comedic relief. Now, are they particularly funny in this movie? No. But I would rather have 6 unfunny Team Rocket jokes that they cut to every 10 minutes than, well, that, but constantly trying to imply significance to the plot. I guess I should talk about the animation in this film since I do it in every movie. It's good. Really, the only thing worth acknowledging is the 3D in this movie. It definitely improves in every movie, and it looks good in this movie. I like the shot with Ash running through these buildings, although I wish they would stop doing this. There's only so many Temple OS jokes I can make.
Gotta explain that when he judges a song, it's like having sex with a 12-year-old.
Now it's time to talk about the legendary Latios and Latias. For one, I like how we develop Ash's relationship with the Pokemon. I know the last movie did that, but this movie does it better. I already made that point though. There's a part in this film where Latias takes the form of this artist girl, and it's kinda weird.
Hey, no offense, but I thought Latias was the name of a Pokemon.
It also gets really weird when at the end of the movie, Latias kisses Ash before he leaves.
Wait a sec. Was that Bianca or Latias?
Holy shit, I'm gonna cough.
Although at some point Latios and Latias do get very annoying because the noise they make is, well, ear bleeding. I would love to make this review longer by talking about how good the music is, how cool the fossil Pokemon are, and how the ending doesn't actually fuck off! And how the ending doesn't actually drag on for the first time in this franchise. But I think that would make these reviews redundant. That's probably why these reviews are short. Something I will say is that the credit song is a fucking banger. Oh, actually, there's 2 credit songs. Let me just open this. Holy shit! That being said, 7 out of 10. I like it. This movie's fine, I guess. Jirachi Wishmaker is very similar to Forever in the fact that it follows a magical little shit. After a circus comes to town, a magician named Butler tries to use Jirachi's power to summon Groudon. This movie is the start of a new era of Pokemon films with a new set of characters. In this movie, we're all introduced to May and her little brother, Max. They work as characters. I'm glad Max isn't annoying, he's just a stupid kid. And May is just kind of a bitch.
Jirachi, get rid of the problem! Get rid of problem? Okay.
Just like Forever, I don't have anything interesting to say here. It's a little boring and it feels like the film is longer than it actually is. The villain is what's really worth talking about. He's an okay villain, you know, he works, but I have notes. For one, he wants to summon Groudon to impress Team Magma. Why he wants to impress them, I have no clue. It's not explained why in the plot, it's just a half-assed way to explain why Groudon is in this movie. Also, when he does summon Groudon, he's like, oh no, Groudon!
It's evil! It's pure evil!
Yeah, no shit! It's Groudon! Everything else in this movie is fine. The finale kinda sucks because they haven't established any limit to Jirachi's power. We know she teleports people in Pokemon, but when Groudon is eating people, Jirachi doesn't use their teleportation powers to bring them out. I assume they can't, but since I don't know their power, I'm just really confused watching this.
Diane!
That shit was way too well animated. The only other things worth acknowledging are Absol, who I guess is also in the story sometimes. Apparently he predicts disastrous events. Yeah, okay, where the fuck was Absol during 9/11? May gets a wish thingy, where she makes a wish and puts a fold down on the wish maker every day. At the end of the film, she forgets to put down the last fold.
It doesn't matter. We all have to make our own dreams come true anyway.
Is this supposed to be character development? How do I know it's character development if I don't know what the wish was?
Ooh, they're stuck in a dark place with impending doom and no way out. That sounds like my life.
I have no joke there. That's just a genuinely funny joke. I guess I'll give this movie like a 5 or a 6. 5 or 6 out of 10. I really can't decide. Destiny Deoxys, or as the title says, I can't read Arabian. This movie is kind of disappointing given the fact that Deoxys is a really cool Pokemon and probably my favorite legendary. The intro to this movie is kind of cool because it's just a battle between Deoxys and Rayquaza. This fucking shot is so fucking funny. I made it into a GIF. These movies all start blending in with the same ideas. This movie does what Forever does, where they introduce a new character that Ash befriends. This character is more engaging since they give him a fear of Pokemon. Most of the film is just Ash and his friends trying to help this kid.
I think we should battle together again. Bet we'll get it right next time. Why do you keep following me?
I would complain about most of the movie not being about Deoxys, but I think these scenes are entertaining enough to be justified for the setup of when Deoxys actually shows up. It's dumb fun. I like the running joke where Munchlax shows up to be a nuisance. Fat fucking chud. I also like this moment where all the trainers have a picnic and it starts playing music. It's fun, but it does come out of nowhere and breaks the pacing a little. When Deoxys shows up, they use the power of
Aurora Borealis
to communicate with this Deoxys spirit thing the new kid befriends. The spirit thing that's animated in 3D actually fits into the 2D animation, which leads me to the rest of the 3D animation. It is really bad and they use it all the time. I want to apologize to Pokemon 2000 for their use of 3D because oh my god, it's egregious in this film. About 40% of the shots in this film have 3D in them. And I think the 3D is worse in this film than it is in 2000. Look at this shot with these people boarding this boat. It looks like the fucking Sims 2. At this point, you might as well make the whole movie 3D. The last thing I have to complain about is the ending. I've complained about the length of the endings of these films, but the last 30 minutes of this movie goes on for fucking ever. It feels like padding that doesn't even need to exist. Something bad happens, they fix it, and something else bad happens and they need to fix that. I couldn't tell you what happens in the last 20 minutes. I just pulled out my phone and stopped watching the film altogether. You can call me a bad reviewer all you want, but that should be a testament to how boring this film is. Ugh. I still have like 17 movies to review after this. I need some inspiration to keep me going.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I guess that's better. 5 out of 10. I don't care. Holy shit, this one's actually really good. I'm free from mediocrity! Hooray! This movie is about Lucario and Mew. And when I say it's about Lucario, I mean it. He is literally at the forefront of the plot. He's basically a deuteragonist to Ash. He and Ash's character development are intertwined together. This is something they have not done in these movies before. The movie needs Ash to be in the forefront of the plot while having Legendary to be the second front. I don't know if that's a word. As simple as it sounds, the last few movies couldn't do anything interesting with these two concepts together. But this movie combines them, so it does work. To make it feel more natural, they usually introduce a type of villain to the plot, but usually the villains aren't good or notable enough to make the film interesting. But in this film, there is no villain. It's just an adventure with Lucario, which definitely fits for the show, which is usually very adventurous. The closest thing to a villain in this movie are the Reggies. And even then, they're not purposely antagonistic, they're just protecting the Tree of Life, or whatever the fuck it's called. There's this other character they introduced called Kid Summers. I thought this character was going to be a shitty, not-so-twist villain when they show her talking to this secret person, but she's just revealed to be like the Mr. Beast of this universe. I do like how when they introduce her, we understand who she is because Brock is fangirling over her. It's actually a pretty cool way to convey information to us without her telling us herself. Back to Lucario. I think this idea of him being the entire plot only works because he's an interesting enough character to follow. If he wasn't interesting at all, the whole movie would not be as good as it is. Given its adventurous plot, a lot of crazy and entertaining shit happens.
No! Don't pull! No! Ah!
While we're still on the topic of the legendary Pokemon, Mew is the other Pokemon that is important to the plot. This is the first movie on this list that actually mixes both legendaries naturally, at least in my opinion. The A plot is Ash missing Pikachu, and the B plot is Mew, Pikachu, and Meowth chilling in the Tree of Life.
Maybe it's time you laid off the Pokeblock.
Fat fucking chud. Lucario and Ash's characters are good because we see the B plot happening at the same time. I'm just explaining basic storytelling at this point. Look, the characters are good. Just watch the fucking movie. It's good. James, no! She's 12! The only other thing I want to talk about in this film is the 3D. Okay, listen, I actually have something to say here. This specific shot with Lucario and the car actually looks good. The mix of 2D and 3D in this one shot looks very well done. I wouldn't complain about the 3D if it was mixed well with the 2D, and it doesn't look like, well, the ballroom scene. I also like how on the poster there's these two Pokemon teams in red and green. They show them having their war in the beginning and never again. I'm not docking points for the film for that, I just thought it was funny that we were basically cucking the audience.
Lucario, from now on, this castle is going to be your new home, and the place where you train.
Yes.
Anyways, I'll rate this... You know what? I'll rate this a 9 out of 10. Fuck it, I like this movie. Go watch it. I hate this movie. If you think these movies were going to get better after the last, you would be wrong, because this movie is the most boring fucking movie I have ever watched. Before I rant, I want to get the positive things out of the way. This is the best looking movie so far. The art and lighting make some very pretty shots. The music is also at its best in this movie. All the instrumentals in this movie are very good. Even near the end of the movie, when I'm bored out of my mind, I'm still enjoying the music. I'll talk more about that later. Another interesting thing about this movie is that it is the first, as far as I know, the only one of these being made in tie-in one of the video games. This and Pokemon Ranger, the video game, came out a few months after each other. Unfortunately, they don't really use the Ranger tie-in, and it doesn't really come in much in the plot. There's one Ranger character in this movie, and he uses his Ranger tool twice, and it kinda pushed into the background. Instead, the plot is about Manaphy, another magical little freak who we don't get a limit to their power, so any tension is broken. This movie has repeated problems from previous movies. Bad 3D that takes me out of the film. Team Rocket forces themselves into the plot. They try to do something interesting with them working with the villain, only to plan to betray them, but it literally never goes anywhere. But the single biggest problem is that this film is fucking boring. After the 40-45 minute mark, this movie does fucking nothing. I understand why the gang fucks around for like 20 whole minutes, because they want to build a relationship between Manaphy and May so it's emotional when they separate, but it just doesn't work. And even then, they don't need 20 minutes for that. I wouldn't complain this much, but this is the longest movie out of every one of them. And the worst thing an incredibly long movie could be is boring. And oh boy, is it. It even does that thing that Destiny Deoxys does, where you think they solved the problem, but oh no, something bad happens again. It's more egregious in this film. The more the movie goes on, the lower the rating for the film is. The only other thing worth mentioning is...
Hi there, who are you?
My name's Ash.
Whoa, someone's balls dropped fast. Yeah, I guess in between movies, the English voice actor for Ash changed. And in my opinion, it might be for the worst. He sounds like someone with a high-pitched voice trying to talk in a deeper voice to sound older. Anyways, this movie is boring. I hate it, and it gets a 4 out of 10. It can't get worse from here.
What I need is for you to climb down out of my ass.
This movie is the start of another era of Pokemon films. This one includes the new character Dawn. Dawn is fucking boring. I know that's a little blunt, but this character is not interesting. Dawn is supposed to be the female fill-in for Misty and May. Misty and May are very similar characters, but they have very subtle differences. In the Jirachi Wishmaker review, I said that May is kind of a bitch. That's not entirely true. May is actually less bitchy than Misty. She's more of a normal character with a little bit of attitude to make her stand out. Dawn is the opposite, where they remove her attitude and make it so that she's not interesting. But it's not a huge deal, given the fact that she's boring and she doesn't ruin the film or anything. Anyways, this film is about Darkrai.
Do not come.
This movie is very interesting in the fact that we see the entire town try to fight Darkrai. It is a very interesting idea. Eventually, the plot devolves into Palkia and Dialga showing up and fighting each other. It's interesting trying to see Ash and friends try to stop a dimensional threat. Going back to Darkrai, obviously he produces nightmares, which leads to very interesting visuals. For some reason, they actually decide to give scientific explanation on how the things Darkrai does works. I guess it's interesting. Okay, I really have to learn new words, because I've said interesting like 5 different times in this review. It's fascinating watching Darkrai's power being used in very creative ways. It's like fucking. He looks like the fucking. I also think this is the first film to move to digital methods of animation. It definitely looks a lot more cleaned up while still looking good, although it looks like they put this mixing effect they do with emulation, where it looks like everything mixes together and I hate it. Overall, this film is just a good time. Darkrai's a fun character watching him fight Palkia and Dialga. Although when Palkia and Dialga fight each other, it's really boring since they're just flying in the sky shooting shit at each other. The ending going on forever does lose my interest a little bit, but I still think this is a good film. 7 out of 10. They also brought back the opening songs from the other movies, and man, I've missed those. I'm tired, boss. Giratina and the Sky Warrior is so far one of the best movies I have watched for this video. It follows Ash and friends discovering a sky dimension with Giratina and Shaman. Now let me lay a little wisdom on you. I have been told by my brother that at some point in these movies, they use the legendaries that haven't been seen yet to introduce them to audiences. So when they write the legendary Pokemon into the movie, they use their powers throughout it to introduce that to audiences. Like I was saying, this movie follows Shaman, not Giratina, who's prominently on the cover. No, the little grass creature. Shaman is make or break for this movie. Shaman has a voice, which is kind of stupid. Not only does she have a voice, but it actually adds nothing. With other Pokemon, you can argue why they talk. Mewtwo can communicate to the trainers to compare their ideologies. Darkrai speaks to connect with the human characters. You can take Shaman's voice out and the movie would be the exact same. In fact, it actively hinders the movie because Shaman is fucking annoying.
Every last one of them.
Have you changed a little, or is it just me?
It's Thank Shaman time.
Shaman is bitchy and cocky and it makes me actively dislike the character. But for me personally, it doesn't ruin them. Mostly because near the end of the film, Shaman isn't annoying anymore and kind of redeems herself.
Amazing, they're like twins.
Yeah.
What are those? Gracidia flowers, Dawn.
Oh, there's flowers. Oh, I love flowers. I love Pokemon. Let me go home.
Everything else about the movie works. The villain is a little one note, but he works enough for me to not complain. Back to the point of introducing the legendaries. It's very interesting watching this movie with the concept that this is the first time seeing these legendaries. They have to explain how Shaman transforms, or how she consumes fumes, or how Giratina gets legs. They even show Regigigas at the end, but he's really just a cameo. He shows up to stop the giant ice glacier, and then he just kind of stands there. Unrelated, but I like the ship design of the villain. It's just a giant stickman with a laser penis that he uses to kill Giratina.
That's right, this is what you get! My super laser penis!
This series of Pokemon films are on a good track. 8 out of 10.
For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him.
Finally, they do something new. Arceus and the Jewel of Life continues the good streak with this generation of movies. For one, the plot is very unique to these films. After Arceus comes to attack, Ash and friends have to go back to the past to play the shitty games that suck ass. The past is where the movie loses me a little. The first 30 minutes of the film are very fast-paced and get shit done. While the rest of the movie is pretty decent, it does slog in certain aspects. So near the start of the film, they explain Arceus' backstory. It's cool and it's done really well. Not only is it a religious-style backstory for a god Pokemon, but it's also told through a glass painting like the ones they have in actual churches. But the reason I bring this up now is because later in the movie they show us the story again, but in length, and boring. It goes on forever, and since we already know what happens, there's no point to it. Legit, this was my reaction to it.
I am trusting you with my life.
But the rest of the movie's pacing and writing is okay. They do that thing the Lucario movie did where the Pokemon thinks the villain ruined everything, but it's revealed they were actually doing a good thing the whole time. Although in this movie it's revealed that the guy in the religious tale didn't intend to betray Arceus, it was actually this guy, who wasn't introduced until now. Okay, sure.
Now, the silver water!
Bro, that is not silver water, dude. That is just cum. The only other thing I remember about the film is Arceus' voice. It's by far the worst Pokemon voice so far.
Ash and Pikachu.
He sounds so fucking gay. He sounds like Frieza from Dragon Ball trying to clean up his act.
This world of yours is truly a magnificent place.
Waiter, there are pickles in my burger. I specifically asked for no pickles. I am very upset. You will be getting a very negative review on Yelp.
7 or 6 out of 10. One more movie left for this generation. Unfortunately, this is a very weekend to this era. Zoroark Master of Illusions is not bad, but very flawed. I'm just gonna dig into the meat of it. So, this movie is about Zoroark. Zoroark can transform into other Pokemon and people. I don't have a problem with Zoroark. He's fine. However, their child Zorua, however the fuck you say it, has a voice. I don't know why the Pokemon Company insists on every goddamn Pokemon having a voice. It doesn't work. And I'm not alone on this. Every review for these movies I've seen with Pokemon with voices, I've seen reviews on Letterboxd that complain about the same shit. No one likes this. Why are they still doing it?
That's one tough Pokemon, huh?
You talked!
Yeah, cause you've never ran into other Pokemon with voices. Well, aside from Arceus, Entei, Lugia, Shame, Zorua changes form into people multiple times, and they get tails, and it makes me really uncomfortable. If you're a furry, you'll love this fucking movie. There's a really weird plot hole in this, but it's not in the movie, it's more for the entire Pokemon universe. So, in this film, Zoroark is forced to take the form of the 3 legendary dogs. So the real legendary dogs get upset. The problem is that the real dogs are shinies. Now, I wouldn't usually bat an eye, but the other movies the dogs showed up in, they weren't shiny. So were they fake too? How the fuck does this make sense? This movie is full of stupid shit like that. After the villain forces Zoroark to destroy the city as the dogs, the villain uses CGI to show people on TV how awful this is. But he's already using fire to destroy the fucking city. I don't think you need to do that. And why the fuck do you care? Just have him destroy shit. You obviously don't give a shit. Why put so much effort into this? This is a Pokemon movie. I shouldn't get this upset. After the city evacuates, Ash and friends go into town, and these elderly people are still there. They don't explain why they didn't evacuate. You just have to go with it, I guess. One last thing that really gets my cartoon soda critic alarms on full blast. The villain can see the future, and can see visions of the future. The storytelling is obviously kind of bad because he sees a vision of Ash and different characters running up and trying to stop him. And next to them is the secretary character who's working with him. I wonder why she would be there. Surely she can't be undercover. Oh my god! This is awful storytelling. I know this review has been nothing but negative, but trust me when I say that this movie isn't that bad. But the negative aspects are really bad in this film. Something positive I will say is that the 3D is actually improving. Look at this shot with Celebi. It actually looks kinda good. And this fire. If this is CG fire, it's good CG fire. It looks really good, and it blends in incredibly well with the animation. And I guess there's some cool ideas in here, but they don't do anything with them. Like, there's this sport Pokemon play, I don't remember the name. I think it would have been cool to see more, but after the intro, it just doesn't go anywhere. The movie is like a 6 out of 10. I know I was harsh, but it wasn't that bad. Definitely better than the boring ones.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
Yawning because of how fucking boring this movie was. So I'm gonna do something a little different for this review. For every other review, I've written a script to really hone in my thoughts in an articulated way. For this review, I'm going unscripted, because I can't think of this movie for another 10 fucking minutes. So Reshiram and Zekrom is a very interesting movie. So, you know how Pokemon games have dual releases? They'll have a version of the game with different exclusives and different versions, and you gotta decide which one you want. For this movie, they decided to do something new and do a double release for one of the movies. I don't know what made them think that was a good idea. They're both the exact same movie, but with different legendaries. I only watched the Reshiram one, because I'm not watching this fucking movie again. But I assume that the legendaries just swap places, and I heard that some Pokemon are changed for each version for the exclusives for that for the games. So if you're watching Pokemon Black, the movie, you'll get Pokemon Black exclusive Pokemon, which is cool, I guess. It doesn't really change anything about the movie itself, which this movie kind of sucks. This movie is fucking boring. It is so fucking boring. It's not like Pokemon Sea Temple boring, but like it's very close. This movie is only an hour and a half. That movie is like fucking 3 hours. I don't know if I can really review this one even. I barely paid attention to it. I was either on my phone or fucking looking at my screen dissociating. They introduced the new characters that Ash is friends with. I don't remember their names. I don't fucking care. I think this is the only movie they're in. They're boring. The one with the green hair is a fucking Pokemon researcher. He's incredibly boring. He's like the most nothing character ever. He replaced Brock. Brock was like unreplaceable. Even they knew Brock was unreplaceable. Like he was the only one that stuck around, and they're just like, oh, well, maybe we should change it. No. The other one is the female stand-in. She's like also boring. She has a fetish for dragon Pokemon, so she has something. So I guess she's already automatically better than Dawn. I don't know, man. There's nothing happens. For the first 30 minutes, it's like explaining the lore, like the deep lore of these characters. And it doesn't ultimately matter, like none of this really comes into the plot that much. At least from what I watched. Remember, I dissociated for a good while. And it's just kind of boring. Like they focus on Victini specifically. They don't focus on the legendary dragons. Which is the whole point, is that it's a different dragon for different versions. But the thing is that they're both in this movie. I think the only thing that changes is like they're swapped places. At least make it so that only one of them shows up, and that's the whole point of the movie. So what the fuck is the point about making two different versions? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Team Rocket, I think I remember Team Rocket fucking shows up for one scene in the beginning, 20 minutes in, and then I think I don't remember them showing up ever again past that. That's from the end, which means they probably only showed up like one other time that I didn't fucking see. So it's like, what the fuck was the point of them existing? The only times I enjoyed myself were when I was like laughing at stupid shit that the movie didn't even do. That was just me having a fucking brain dead moment. Like the scene with this cat Pokemon like leaning on the tree, because I laughed because it fucking reminded me of the image of the minion leaning on the wall. What were the notes that I took? Oh, they do the musical intro where like music plays over like them battling Pokemon for like for the credits roll. But they do it like 20 minutes into the movie, where it's like the movie has like started. I don't know why you're doing this now. There's like the villain in this movie that's like one of the worst because it's like boring and I don't care. And he's supposed to be, he like redeems himself in the movie, and then he's like, hey, he helps Ash and Victini. And I just don't fucking care. You're not doing anything new. Making very slight differences to sell two versions of the same fucking movie isn't interesting enough. I think this letterbox review for the fucking movie is pretty accurate. This video is draining me at this point, man. I got 10 movies after this, and I don't want to watch any more of these. I want to get this over with, man. Ugh, fuck. This movie's a 4 out of 10, because that's what I gave Sea Temple. It's only 4 because it's boring. It's really not that, like, I would argue, like, if I was being fair and I wasn't rating these a 4 because they were boring, they would probably, like, Sea Temple would probably be like a 6. This one would probably be a 5. But just because this one was slightly less boring, I'm putting it over the Sea Temple. But it's still not good. fuck, man?
I'll make it clear. You can write this down. I want to fuck a woman as a horse.
If you pray hard enough for a good Pokemon movie, God will deliver. Kyurem in the Sword of Justice is about Keldeo, a Pokemon who wants to impress the 3 legendary swordsmen, or whatever they're called. He has to fight Kyurem, who's the main antagonist.
It's coming. Kyurem's coming.
It's actually a miracle I ended up enjoying this movie, because I had a fucking miserable time trying to find a functioning version of this movie. Hey, note to everyone who owns a movie piracy website, I am not turning off my ad blocker for your website. You steal movies. I'm not giving you fucking money. Back on topic, the reason this movie is good is mostly because of its pace. I really took for granted the fast pace of the first film. This film gets to the point. Kyurem is attacking Keldeo, and Ash and friends have to help him defeat him. It works well and makes a very entertaining movie. Oh, this is the shortest movie on this list. It's only 1 hour and 10 minutes, not including the credits. The first 15 minutes of this film is just Keldeo being trained by the 3 legendary swordsmen. It's just these characters fucking around. I think it's very interesting to see nothing but the Pokemon being focused on. They could have just focused on the Pokemon the entire movie, and it could have been very entertaining. But even if Ash has to show up, it's still a good movie.
I heard everything you said. What do you mean, weight of my sword?
You see...
Terrakion. My sword is bigger than your sword.
Another thing is that I love the colors in this movie. There's some amazing shots in this. The transformation to Kyurem Black and the Keldeo getting his horn sword. This movie is very pretty to look at. Something I don't really like that much is that the Pokemon have voices. But not the fact that they talk, but the fact they don't move their mouths while they talk. Not a single legendary Pokemon moves their mouth when talking. They're not telekinetic, they don't use psychic powers to talk, they just decided to not move their mouths. Kyurem and the Sword of Justice is a new and fun movie. 8 out of 10, I have confidence in the next film. And we're back to dog shit. Genesect The Legend Awakens is supposed to be a big comeback film for Mewtwo, but it completely fucks up everything.
I'm going to speed up.
Whoa, someone's taking HRT. Mewtwo herself is the biggest problem with this movie. First of all, who the fuck is this?
I am Mewtwo.
No, you're not. If you remember this from the previous movies, Mewtwo had a man's voice, but I guess Mewtwo is female now? I get that it's been like 12 years since the last appearance of Mewtwo, so I get not getting the original voice actor, but like, could have gotten a sound-alike. It only makes it more confusing when you see Mewtwo's backstory. First of all, we've already seen all of this, so this is completely pointless. Second of all, this is not accurate either. It shows the scientists running torture tests on Mewtwo, but we already know from the first film that Mewtwo went apeshit the moment he was born. The scientists never got any chance to do anything with him. It's just a false backstory. And you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, it's just a different Mewtwo. Well, this movie doesn't say shit. This movie's biggest problem is just not explaining anything to us. Mewtwo can Mega Evolve into Mega Mewtwo X. They don't explain why they can, they just do. And it doesn't help that this movie is still stuck in Gen 5, even though Mega Evolutions were a Gen 6 thing. I think that's a huge problem with all of these movies is that they're way behind. The continuity of the games at this point was Gen 6, nearly Gen 7. And for some reason the Pokemon company who makes these movies were just like, nah, we gotta make a whole ass movie about the legendary that's a full generation behind. To add the cherry to this poop sundae, Mewtwo and Ash don't remember each other even though they have met before. And again, if it's a different Mewtwo, we wouldn't know. I guess I should talk about Genesect. There's nothing that could have been done. Genesect was a made man and Pikachu wasn't. Genesect is a boring villain with nothing to really talk about. They try to connect him to Mewtwo's story by showing that they're actually misunderstood and just want to find a home, and Mewtwo just wants to help. I don't know, I guess it works. Despite being around the same length as the previous film, somehow it finds a way to be kind of boring. Even when the Pokemon are fighting Genesect, it's still not interesting. The fight scenes are just not good. They lack the sauce. Team Rocket returns in this film. I didn't mention the fact that they were completely absent from the previous film outside of the opening, where they're just chillin'. But they pointlessly return in this movie, and of course, do nothing.
Pikachu! It's paying off for me and you!
What is this Meowth? What is it? What does it look like? What is it? This movie is some straight ass. 3 out of 10. Bottom of the ranking. That's such a stupid fucking title for a movie. Diancie and the Cocoon of Destruction follows Dude, you're not gonna believe this. This movie is the epitome of perfectly average film. The movie is not really that good, but it's charming enough. This area of films has 3 new characters that follow Ash. Clement and his little sister Bonnie, and Serena. They work fine. Clement and Bonnie are actually kind of fun. And Serena... I miss Brock. Alright, let's start with what I like. First, the colors and lighting in this movie are really good. This is definitely the best looking movie out of all of these so far. Second, I think the side characters are very fun. There's the villains. The Fire Lady and the Greninja Dude are wacky cartoon villains that aren't really the villains. They're very fun and I like them. There's a twist villain in this movie that sucks, but it doesn't distract too much from the film, but like, it still sucks. And this scene where everyone is fighting for Diancie is the best scene in the film. It's a really cool sequence. Diancie is a fine Pokemon to follow. She's not annoying, but she's very bland. She's just like the film, painfully average. Xerneas and Yveltal are also in this movie. You would assume that the movie's leading up to a big battle between the two, but no. Yveltal gets summoned and destroys shit for 10 minutes before Xerneas shows up. And then Yveltal flies away and they just let him go. He is going to kill more people. I hope you know that. It's like letting the Zodiac Killer loose. And speaking of Xerneas, why is he entirely 3D in this film? I guess the 3D has improved a lot, but he still does not match the rest of the animation. Look at these shots, he looks completely out of place. Could you not draw him in 2D? The rest of the movie is fine. It's not worth talking about. There's a part in the movie where Ash and friends take Diancie shopping and stop the plot completely, so they can try clothes and yassify her. She is such a queen! Yes, queen, slay! The movie's not worth wasting more time on. 6 out of 10.
I've been coming. I'm gonna continue to come. Skip's been coming. He's gonna continue to come.
This movie beat Avengers Endgame by 4 years and Smash Bros. Ultimate by 3. And it does not live up to the expectations that those two did. Hoopa and the Clash of the Ages doesn't entirely live up to the expectations. Hoopa is obviously the first thing I should talk about, and yeah, people think he's annoying. I don't really mind it that much. It's a cool concept for a Pokemon, a little shit that turns into a giant genie that uses portals. It's creative at times. I like the scene where Hoopa spawns a bunch of Pikachus. Yo, it's me, Pikachu! I did it for the Poke, yo! The only thing we're talking about in this movie is the legendary fight that takes up the last 30 minutes. But even before that, it's almost engaging. I think it can be entertaining sometimes and boring other times. The other characters that take care of Hoopa are really weird. They give an Arceus-style backstory to how they know Hoopa, and it goes on for way too long. Also, they talk to the characters as if they're giving a tour of the city and not talking about the legendary Pokemon.
Dahara Tower is where the prison bottle was originally made. The power still can be found there.
When we finally get to the legendary battle, it is admittedly pretty cool, although it does go on and nothing new happens after a while. It's just them flying away from the Pokemon attacks. But eventually new stuff does happen, and it's overall a very engaging fight. And then after they defeat the big Hoopa, and you think the movie is over, and then the universe starts collapsing because of how many legendaries are in one spot, which is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. And I think you already know how I feel about ending twists where the movie decides to go on forever. Whoa, you can't say that. Actually, I think you can't say that. Alright, you got away with it this time. This movie has a fair share of problems, which kinda weighs it down. 6 out of 10, we are stuck in a mediocrity well.
Let's go. Plankers.
I'm so charmed by this film. Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel is kinda good? Let me just explain. Most of the movie is just Ash, his friends Volcanion, and the other pseudo-legendary, Magearna.
Come back!
I think the relationship between Magearna and Volcanion is sweet and charming. This film spends a lot of time with these characters, and honestly I like it. I won't complain about nothing happening if you're capable of making it entertaining. The scenes of Magearna and the human characters are very cute. I also just really like the setting of this movie. The mechanical city with gears all over the place and paired with the look of the side characters. I love the way they're dressed in this movie. This just reminds me why I love Gen 6 in general. I love the way this generation looks. The biggest flaw with this film is that the Pokemon thinks the humans are bad. You know, the same concept that 8 of these movies have done by this point? It bashes it into your fucking skull. I'm not gonna think you're doing something new by repeating it over and over again. No matter how many sad Pokemon you show. It's not one of those puppy pound commercials. It doesn't work like that when they're mean to Gulpin and Pokemon. The only other thing I remember in this movie is the villain. His whole thing is that he abuses Mega Evolutions. It's a cool concept, but the shit this guy does makes him my favorite villain from these movies. After he captures Magirna, he fucking rips her heart out and gives her corpse back to the Volcanion. Oh, and he doesn't just use Gengar's powers to gently move her down. He just fucking tosses her corpse overboard. This guy is pure fucking evil, I love it. But unfortunately, after that point, the movie falls off and becomes boring again.
Ash, you've got to get out of there right away! Your suit's absorbing the water!
I like this movie, and I like the Pokemon in it. Volcanion only works with Magirna, and I like Magirna. Yes, it's because she's hot, okay? And then play the Freddy Fazbear dry humping clip. Anyways, 7 out of 10. We're at the home stretch. Oh my god, something new. Took you fucking eons. Pokemon I Choose You is a reboot film of the first season of the anime. It takes place within the first few episodes of the show, but with modern Pokemon to switch it up. I've actually seen this movie before. This was one of the movies my brother put on while I was sitting in the room. I liked it at the time, but I didn't think much about it. In hindsight, I was right, this movie's pretty fun. Since it's just the plot of the anime, Ash gets a lot of character development. There's a scene where Marshadow puts Ash into a nightmarish dream where he lives a boring, stupid chud life without Pokemon. I like it a lot. It's definitely my favorite part of the movie, and it develops Ash's character, showing that he's nothing without Pikachu. Speaking of, there's another scene where one of Ash's new friends tells a story about a Luxray that warms him up in the cold, and then it fucking freezes to death. That's so fucking dark and I kinda doesn't fit in the movie. Speaking of Ash's new friends, they're okay. They work for the film and have distinct enough personalities. Although one of them just casually has a Lucario. They don't have any other Pokemon, they just have a Lucario. I feel like you should explain that. How did he get a fucking Lucario? Given the film's premise, the adaptation of the anime doesn't always work. They try to adapt the infamous Bye Bye Butterfree episode, and it doesn't really work here. In the anime, we get a few episodes to develop Ash and Butterfree's bond together, but we knew Butterfree for like 10 minutes in this film. It doesn't hit the same way in the slightest. I like the bully character, which is kind of just a Gary Oak stand-in. He compares his brutal mindset to Ash, which helps Ash's development, but also he just makes a good antagonist. I mean, his mindset is a little stupid. When he abandons his Charmanders because he quote-unquote too weak, even though he evolves into a fucking dragon. It all culminates into a battle between Charizard and Incineroar, which is pretty fun. The ending emotional scene also works well, even though Pikachu says this.
It's because I always want to be with you.
Unfortunate that this is the only thing people remember about this movie. But then Ash straight up starts disappearing and Pikachu tries putting his hat on him, and he dies. I can't believe they actually did the emotional ending death properly again.
Now you look! I don't think you know who you're dealing with! I'm Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town! Ah!
This was good. I needed something new at this point. 8 out of 10. It's like 10 in the morning right now while I'm recording this. I am so tired. I don't know how much longer I can do this. These next 4 movies are gonna be a fucking nightmare. Okay, Pokemon The Power of Us. This was the other movie I had seen while my brother was in the room. I actually talked to my brother about the movie and he did not remember the fact that we watched this together. Not a good sign. The Power of Us actually sticks out quite a lot from these movies. This film less follows Ash and more follows a couple of villagers from this town. You would think this concept would be boring, which it kinda is, but the more the movie goes on, these characters actually get developed in one less note over time. This Granny character just gets a bunch of Pokemon following her throughout the film. She hates Pokemon, so it's just a comedy film every time she's on screen. But later in the movie we see her backstory and why that is, and she gets to have development on learning to like Pokemon. It's honestly kinda sweet. The best character by far though is this uncle character. He lies about being a master trainer in this competition, and then his niece gets upset at him because of it. We see him feel remorse and feel bad before his niece gets in danger. And the Sudowoodo he let go earlier comes and encourages him with words of wisdom. And then the uncle and Sudowoodo become best friends. This shit is actually so peak. The main legendary in this movie is Zorora. However, he doesn't get that much focus. Hell, he doesn't even show up until 50 minutes in. Originally, I thought this was a flaw, but actually I don't mind it. He's fine, and as much as I think his role in this film could be removed and it wouldn't change that much, I don't hate his inclusion and it does tie into the main message of the film. I also like the stylized backstory of Zorua. If I've learned anything from these movies, I think I just like when movies change styles for backstories. Hell, I'm one of the only people who actually liked the anime sequence in Kill Bill, so maybe I'm just a sucker for that kind of stuff. Even with that being said, the characters aren't too strong all the time. And a plot like this isn't bound to be perfect and is a little too slow at times. But hey, Team Rocket actually contributes to the third act in this movie, so that's gotta be worth something. This movie is incredibly charming, and I actually think you should go watch it. 7 out of 10.
Goo goo gaga. Goo goo gaga.
Finally, Detective Pikachu, the only live-action Pokemon movie in this list. I was very excited to watch this when I finally got to it on the list. Unfortunate to say, this is probably the worst film I've watched in this video so far. I think the first thing I should talk about is how well the Pokemon are adapted into live action. They don't actually look that bad. It's obviously a very hard task to turn something like Pokemon that was never thought into bringing into the real world. Most of them look pretty good, and I mean most. Not all of these work well in live action.
Look how they mess with my boy.
Speaking of the world of Pokemon, the sets in this movie are incredible. Not only is Rhyme City, the city where most of this movie takes place, looks good, but there's also some other sets that look great. Alright, I've sung my very few praises for this film, now let's talk about everything else. First of all, I fucking hate Ryan Reynolds. Every goddamn scene he's in, he's always making incredibly unfunny one-liners. I know that's not Ryan Reynolds' fault and more the shitty writing team, but Ryan Reynolds is still annoying and he's the worst part of this movie by far. Every other joke is like a sex joke. This movie for babies has way too many sex innuendos. Is this movie supposed to be Has-Been Hotel for toddlers? The rest of the characters aren't really worth complaining about. They're just not interesting. Not only are the characters not particularly written that well, but almost all of the acting isn't very good. This Lucy character's acting is so distracting. She's doing just a little too much. Who even directed this movie? Oh, he directed Shark Tale. That actually explains all the dick and ball jokes in the first 40 minutes of the film. I don't know what I really expected though. I had a feeling this movie wasn't gonna be that good. Some story points in this are really fucking stupid. So Mewtwo is the main villain in this movie, because of fucking course he is. And you think they're deriving from his origin in the first movie, which you're not entirely wrong about. The catch is that despite the fact they state that he was created from Mew's fossils, the scientist in the lab tells the main character's detective father to go find Mewtwo because he escaped from the Johto region. Then where the fuck did he come from? Who made him? So many questions that are just brushed off and never explained. I think this movie had more potential. Like, if they actually got people who cared more about Pokemon to write it, not the director of Shark Tale, this could have been a little better. Because I like this part in the film where the Arjuice that makes Pokemon aggravated goes all over the place and the Loudreds that were originally playing the DJ music completely change the song when they are angry. That's a cool idea. There's some other things I forgot to write into the script. Like how at the end of the movie, the fucking villain decides to, like, use the R-Serum to fuse the Pokemon and people together. And then after he's defeated, they just kind of go back to normal and they separate. I don't know how. I guess Mewtwo's powers, I don't know. It felt weird in the film. Also, there's a twist where it's revealed that the Pikachu was actually Ryan Reynolds the whole time. Mewtwo put his brain inside of his Pikachu's partner, but, like, he doesn't remember that. Like, he's not aware that he's Pikachu. Like, he thinks that he was Pikachu the whole time, and this reveal is a surprise to him. I feel like that doesn't make any fucking sense and is really dumb, but that might just be me. I don't know. Anyways, I don't really have that much more to say about this film. Go watch the Pointless Hub video about it. He's definitely a much better writer than I am. 3 out of 10, this movie sucked. At least the main character has a cool perler bead Rayquaza as well. The best I got is this Cofagrigus that's missing a few fingers.
Go back! I want to be monkey!
Guys, you might want to sit down for this one. This movie is boring. I know, huge shocker, there's so few of them. You don't know how happy I am to finally watch one of these movies on an actual streaming service. I can't believe I'm happy to pay for Netflix. Now I can watch these movies in HD 4K!
Just like real life!
Anyway, Secrets of the Jungle is a boring rehash movie with every recycled plot idea ever. The plot to the movie is just Tarzan. A child grows up with a Zarude as a parent and grows up to be Tarzan. I mean, Coco. This Coco character is boring and I don't much care for the relationship with his father. I guess the movie's a little more engaging when Ash and Coco try to find his real parents. At least the animation is pretty good, but it's always good in these movies. It's like saying a Pixar movie has good animation. The only thing worth talking about in this film is the villain. He's supposed to be this very polite and understood doctor of this, like, tech company? I don't even know what they do, honestly. But he's evil and actually wants to steal the power of this life tree. Again, they don't explain anything. Or I was just paying attention. My brain is fried at this point. It's just a generic big CEO with power who wants to destroy nature. You know, the thing every animated film has been doing for the past 40 years? This villain is generic up until they show his backstory, where we see that he actually killed Coco's parents. It doesn't sound that interesting when I say it, but I didn't see it coming when I was watching the film. And the voice actor goes 110% all the way with this scene. It's the best scene in the movie. I didn't realize this until writing the script, but the villain's whole evil scheme is to prove that he's right. The villain is literally just a Redditor. Of course, the movie goes on forever, because they forgot to put in the emotional scene that every movie has done. You know what that means? The movie even decides to go on like 10 minutes after the main threat is defeated. The movie's just teasing me at this point. 4 out of 10. One more movie left. This is the most pointless movie ever made. I found out before I watched this film that this is just 3 episodes of the Pokemon Rangers anime, condensed into an hour-long film. It's only an hour long, so it barely even counts for this list. Another reason this movie doesn't make sense is the fact that it's clearly a tie-in for the Legends Arceus game, but this movie was released 8 months after the game. So when they're introducing stuff like the Pokeballs and the starters from different generations, it's just pointless. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember this film. I've honestly spaced out at this point. All I see is Pokemon now. The whole movie is just them fighting Heat Rain for way too long. I have literally no other notes for this movie. Even if I didn't space out for this movie, it's still boring as fuck either way. I need a rest. 4 out of 10. This fucking sucked. I was very optimistic when I started this video in January, and by the time I got to Pokemon Heroes, I started feeling the fatigue real fucking quick. I'm honestly just glad this is over, and I don't have to do this again. Godzilla ranking next. After all that hard work of staring at a screen for 50 hours, let's finally get to the ranking. Number 24, Genesect The Secret Awakens. Detective Pikachu, Ranger Temple of Sea, Pokemon Reshiram and Victini, The Arceus Chronicles, Secret of the Jungle, Pokemon 2000, Pokemon Forever, Destiny Deoxys, Zoroark Master of Illusion, Jirachi Wishmaker, Hoopa Clash of the Ages, Diancie and the Cocoon of Destruction, Mewtwo Returns, Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel, Pokemon Heroes, Arceus and the Jewel of Life, Power of Us, Rise of Darkrai, Kyurem and the Sword of Justice,
Pokemon, I choose you.
Giratina and the Sky Guardian, Pokemon the First Movie, Lucario and the Secret of Mew. Would I recommend you watch all of these? Absolutely not. Watch the Johto movies, minus Forever, and watch a few of the ones I enjoyed, especially the Lucario one. Don't take my video as gospel. If you really want to watch all of these on your own and form your own opinion, that's fine. This video was made for comedy purposes, if anything. Before you click off the video, I want to plug some things, so please listen if you want to see more of my content. I have a TikTok page. I post gameplay shorts. I post the same shorts on YouTube Shorts, but I do post the occasional other funny video that you don't see on YouTube Shorts on there. So if you really want to support me, go follow that page. It currently has more followers than I do subscribers on this channel. I want to change that, but, you know, whatever. I have a Twitch account. I haven't streamed anything as of now, but if I do, that's where you'll find it.
What? Is that WOMBUS on here? Hell yeah.
I have some ideas of what I want to stream in the future, but I'm going to have to get around to that at some point. If you do end up missing a live stream, I have a VODs channel I created. Again, there's nothing on there right now, but if you do miss a stream, it'll be on there. I have a Letterboxd account. I was logging all the Pokemon movies while making this video, and I do review other things. I try to write a funny little review for each movie I watch, but I can't guarantee I'll do it for all of them. So go check it out. I would put these in the description, but YouTube won't let me do that right now, so you should just be able to find them in my channel's description. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button, because I plan on making more videos like this in the future. And I finally want to give a shout out to Antonel Edits on TikTok for the joke edit earlier in the video. He also has a YouTube channel. I'm in all of his videos, so if you want more of me, go check out his videos.
Okay, so basically, if you haven't played web fishing and you're gonna do it, always go to the dock. You'll get good shit. If your name is Sam, and your birthday was on March 31st, 2008, and your credit card number is 82213.
Well, this was a worthwhile experiment. I have an idea for another ranking video just in the style of this, but I'm obviously gonna wait on that for now. Anyways, subscribe, like the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Wombus out. God, I fucking suck at outros.